Isn't it fascinating how the mind, it could hold on to an idea so tightly until suddenly it doesn't? Because there was a time that you thought you had to prove yourself. That every word, every movement, every glance, it had to be calculated, perfected, polished. But what if none of that was ever true? What if the real secret was never in proving, but in being? Not in chasing, but in drawing. Not in forcing, but in allowing. And the more you think about that now, the more you can feel the shift happening deep beneath the surface. Because confidence, it isn't something you wear. It isn't something you fake. It's something you manufacture. It's something you remember. Like a rhythm you already knew. Like a game you once played effortlessly. Like the way a cat moves, unrushed, unbothered, completely at ease in its own skin. Because isn't that the most captivating thing? Not the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who doesn't need to shout. Not the one who tries to impress, but the one who assumes fully, completely, naturally that they already do. And as you begin to feel that truth settling in, something interesting happens. The pressure dissolves, the overthinking disappears, the game changes, because now you're the one setting the rules. Because attraction, it's never about trying harder. It's about feeling lighter. It's the way you laugh, not to be liked, but because you genuinely enjoy the moment. It's the way you tease, not to get a reaction, but because you naturally play. It's the way you hold silence, not awkwardly, not nervously, but effortlessly, knowing full well that tension is delicious. And isn't it curious how the less you try to impress, the more naturally people are drawn in? How the moment you stop filtering, doubting, hesitating, the perfect words just appear. How the more you relax into your own energy, the more magnetic you become. Because when you own the space, when you hold your reality so effortlessly, so unshakably, so completely, everything shifts. And now as this truth settles in deeper than ever before, what happens when you fully step into this new way of being? When you stop seeking approval and start giving an experience? When you let go completely and suddenly realize this was always the most fun game in the world? And as you imagine that now, isn't it exciting to think about how much fun this all becomes? Because it's fascinating, isn't it? How the moment you stop trying to win the game, you start playing it better than ever before. Because there was a time, maybe not so long ago, when you believed you had to earn presence, as if you had to qualify for it, as if the very act of being seen required permission. But what if that was never true? What if the real truth was simple, more natural? What if the very energy that captivates, the very force that draws people in, is the absence of that effort, the absence of strain, the absence of proving, the absence of all that unnecessary weight that you've carried for so long? And now, isn't it interesting to notice how, as you breathe differently, as you move differently, as you begin to allow rather than force, something deeper starts to awaken. That feeling, that knowing, that undeniable, effortless certainty that you are and always have been more than enough. Because confidence, it was never about doing more. It was about removing the things that blocked you from seeing yourself clearly. And the moment you do, everything shifts. The pressure disappears. The thoughts slow down. The game becomes lighter. And now, instead of chasing approval, you're inviting curiosity. Because now you're not impressing, you're playing. And people feel that. They feel the way you hold a moment, not in tension, not in fear, but in delight. They feel the way you tease, not to prove something, but because you're enjoying yourself. They feel the way you let silence stretch, not awkwardly, but powerfully, because you understand something most never do. It was never about the words. It was always about the space between them. And when you hold that space, when you trust it, lean into it, own it, something shifts in the air. And isn't that interesting? How suddenly you're not thinking anymore. You're not planning. You're not overanalyzing. You're simply being. And in that being, in that presence, in that unshakable, effortless, undeniable you-ness, that is when they feel it. That's when they notice. That's when they lean in. Because confidence, it isn't volume. It isn't performance. It isn't a script. Confidence is stillness. Confidence is knowing. Confidence is the moment you realize that the real game was never about proving yourself to anyone. It was about letting them prove themselves to you. And now, as you feel this settling deeper, as it takes root in part of your mind that no longer needs to think about it, isn't it exciting to wonder just how much fun this all becomes from here on?